Welcome everyone, I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Shadowverse. Shadowverse is a free-to-play collectible card game. Has a lot of similarities to Blizzard's Hearthstone, as you can probably see from just some of the layouts of the cards and what some of the other ones look like. And occasionally I go through my Steam queue, that little thing that it goes through like 10 games and ask if you're interested in them. And this one was one of the games that came out. One of the games that came up on my queue, and I decided to try it out. And so far, it's pretty interesting. I'm not really that far in the rank play or anything like that, but it does have a solo mode that has an actual story. The dialogue is there, to say the least. It is a free-to-play game, so I don't really expect much, but it's more story than what you'll get from Hearthstone, so I guess that's something. This game does have a sort of a class system, though it's a little bit different from Hearthstone. Hearthstone uses a system where you have a unique ability and then cards that are unique to your class. This game, you have a unique mechanic, and then you have cards that are obviously focused towards your class. And I'll state that just starting out, you'll get about 30 free booster packs, which is about 300 cards, along with all your starting default cards for all the classes. So you start out with quite a bit in this game. In fact, out of the starting packs I drew, I ended up getting a number of legendaries, like this Bahamut card. So there's definitely you can definitely get quite a bit out of it. I want to say it feels like there's more cards in this game than there is in Hearthstone, but I really can't say. I stopped playing Hearthstone before the first little expansion came out for it. Because I didn't want to pay money for it. I will say that it's a bit easier to get cards, it feels like. You have your daily missions, very similar to Hearthstone, but you also get daily benefits every time you log in, usually in the form of what they call coins or whatever it is, which you can use to buy card packs. So it feels like I get card packs a little bit more often than in Hearthstone. Also, the card packs in this game is 10 cards, with at least one being silver or higher rarity. Usually you get more than one silver though, so it's all good and dandy. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a solo game, just to kind of show off the story a little bit. So far, there's a story mode for every character. I don't know if there's more that get unlocked after you complete the last one. I've only done the first two. Each one is specific towards a certain character. There is a default deck made for every character, but you can, with the exception of the tutorial fight that starts at every story mode, the rest of them you can use whatever deck you want as long as it's for that character. So I've been working on Isabelle, who's a Runecraft style character. Sorry, drinking some water. Alright, so the story mode, each of the missions actually has a small reward. These are vials, which is kind of similar to dust, which you can use, that you can get from breaking duplicate cards, and you can actually collect them as rewards, and you can use those to craft other cards. Anyway, let's go ahead and do mission 2 here. As for the difficulty, it kind of ramps up as you go along. The first few missions, the opponents will usually have 10 health instead of 20. Until the end, where both of you will have 20. Alright, so I'll pick my deck. This is my built Runecraft deck. Unable to make headway in our research to resurrect the dead, Isabelle turned to the one she lost.
Maybe this will help me devise some new angles for my research.
So yeah, there's actually voice dialogue. I'll talk a little bit more about the voice dialogue in a bit, because there's quite a bit of it.
After all, it's so peaceful here. I just need to clear my head.
Dear child, word of your undertakings has reached me. The deeds you try to accomplish, they defy nature's order.
I don't believe we've met.
I am Eris, priestess of the sacred hall. You should let go of your despair before it consumes you.
You're very perceptive. But perceptive and persuasive are two different things.
Do you truly wish to go against the order of this world?
I don't care either way.
Your despair may be the key.
What would you know about it?
Alright.
I guess you're looking for a fight.
Liberation is at hand.
Alright, just like in Hearthstone, you get a starting 3 cards that you can pick, and then you can choose to discard any number of them and redraw. This is a reasonably okay hand, so I'll go with it.
Yami's feeling hungry!
Defeat me, but nothing will change.
Alright, so a bunch of little information that came up. First off, it's talking about something called evolutions that you can do within a certain number of turns. Evolutions are down here, these little crystals. They start out inactive, and there's a little countdown for them. Once the countdown reaches 0, they will light up. The first player gets 2, and the second player gets 3. The other advantage of being second player is you get to draw 2 cards on your first turn instead of just 1. So that's why I drew 2 cards instead of just 1. And evolutions are really the very unique aspect of this game besides the mechanics for each of the classes. What evolutions do is they allow you to upgrade a monster that's in play. Not only that, it can allow you to immediately attack with that monster even if it's just been summoned. As long as you attack another monster, you won't be able to attack the player directly with it. Also, a number of monsters have special abilities only when they get evolved. And you only have a certain number of evolutions in the game. There are some ways to get evolutions back, but there are not that many. So for the most part, these 3 evolutions are the only 3 I'll have. And it becomes a choice whether or not I need to really get something strong out in the field to actually start killing other monsters, or should I save it for something bigger, or save it for something that's more unique as in a special effect. Anyway, as for the other mechanic, of course, as you can see up here, there's countdown. This is this character's mechanic. I think she's like Heavencraft or something like that. I don't remember the actual name of it. But her mechanic's all about countdowns. A lot of her cards will have a countdown mechanic where it'll have a number and it'll tick down at the start of every one of our turns. And once the countdown finishes, the card will die. And usually, majority of the cards that die have a last word effect, which is an effect that triggers when they die. So essentially, she puts out a bunch of cards that have countdowns, and once those countdowns finish, they die and their effect will trigger. Our mechanic with this character, the Heavencraft, or whatever it's called, is Spell Boost. And the way Spell Boosts work is you can actually click this button here. Now, you won't see this button if you're not the character, of course. But Spell Boost will, if you click on it, you can see that some numbers popped up on some of my cards. In fact, I can pull it up like this, maybe. Yeah. A number of my cards have these things called Spell Boost. Every time I cast a spell, an actual spell, not a monster or anything else, it will boost all Spell Boost cards that are in my hand. So if I cast Wind Blast, for example, it will do 1 damage, but casting that spell will Spell Boost the Summon Snow, which will make it so instead of summoning 1 snowman, it'll summon 2. And then there's of course this here, which will reduce the cost of this spell. As you can see, it's 18 mana, which we can't even get to 18 mana. So the way to get this spell to even work is you have to cast a bunch of spells to Spell Boost it until you can actually afford it. So the mechanic for this particular character, I believe her name is Isabel, is to cast spells to boost the cards that are in these other cards that are in your hand. As for the cards, there are 3 types. There are amulets, which are these cards here. They go on the field, but they are not monsters, and they can only be destroyed by effects that specifically destroy amulets, or whatever it's called. Amulets can do a variety of effects. They can do things like a continuous effect. They can be countdowns, and so forth. And then we have spells, which are just one-use spells that do various effects. And then there are monsters, which go on the field, and they usually cannot attack on the turn they come out unless they have certain effects. As you can see, this is a goblin. It has a very similar layout as Hearthstone, where you got your attack and defense. When monsters attack, they do damage directly to each other, and that's pretty much the gist of it. Alright, I can't do anything this round. I only have 1 mana, so I'm just going to go ahead and end my turn.
Oh, Serpent King.
That's Ward. That's pretty much the same as Guard or whatever it is that Hearthstone has. You can't. Usually you can attack anyone, including the opponent, the player. But anyone that has Ward, you have to attack first. Alright, looks like we got ourselves a starting thing going. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out this Contra Golem. So this is a spell that summons a Golem. So that boosted all the cards in my hand. And that's all I can do this round.
He's feeling hungry.
A lot of little goblins. Ouch.
Look at you. You're hurt.
Oh, aren't you clever? Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and... Don't really have very many options here, unfortunately. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out Red Hot Ritual. Yeah, I'll bring out Red Hot Ritual. This is a amulet that will do 2 damage when it comes out. Anything that has fanfare will activate when they get summoned. Well, normally summoned. Special summons usually don't trigger it. Alright. Bunch of little choices here. I need to get rid of that guard, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it out.
My king.
Alright, and that's pretty much it. Now this thing here is just an Earth Sigil now. Earth Sigils are a unique mechanic for this character as well. Some cards will have something called Earthright, and if I put it out, in fact, here's one right now. So this character has no special abilities, but if I evolve her, she gets to do Earthright. And what Earthright does is if there's an Earth Sigil in play, it will consume that Earth Sigil to activate Earthright. So I do have an Earth Sigil out because I just played one. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon this for 4.
Better not be mean.
And I have access to my evolutions now, so I have 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and expend them. You can either click on the card and click Evolve, or you can just drag this out.
You're done for.
I told you not to be mean to us.
Okay, so we got that going. And now this character can actually attack anyone, but not the player, because I just evolved her. I'm going to go ahead and take out... What is this? Oh, I see. It gets +2 during the opponent's turn. Okay, I don't want to deal with that. You know what? I'll take her out anyway. Really, I just summoned her just so I can get the Guardian Golem. You can only evolve once per turn, even if you have multiple.
I live by the sword.
How much is in it for me?
Alright, she's got a lot of monsters out. Alright, cleared my board. Alright. I can summon some snowmen. And I can also Wind Blast. So this is only going to do 2 damage, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. So Wind Blast.
This wasn't
go.
worth it.
Now, just to point out, this is a lightning shooter. This is an actual monster, but she also has a spell boost, where her fanfare does damage to an enemy follower, which is just a monster. And now it's doing 2 damage instead of 1. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use my Summon Snow to get 3 snowmen out, because it's been boosted that much.
Golly, it's chilly here. It's chilly here. It's chilly here.
It is indeed chilly. I'm going to go ahead and buff this.
It won't be long now.
So now, so yeah, even summon monsters
This is
can
really
be
like the cold. Wait, that's it?
buffed. So far, I've taken 6 damage and have not done a single point of damage to her. Alright, and alright, she cast a buff spell on that. Alright. So we got a few options. I'm gonna go ahead and cast this Insight spell. All it does is allow you to draw a card, but it's a spell, so it will boost everything I have. Alright, I can Insight again. I'll go ahead and insight again. And now I can magic missile and all that nonsense. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is just kill this.
You like the cold? You like the cold? I feel slutty.
This wasn't worth it.
Alright, and then I'll cast Summon Snow.
Golly, it's chilly here. It's chilly here. It's chilly here. It's chilly here. It's chilly here.
There is a limit of how many cards you can have on the field that includes amulets and followers, and the max is 5. So amulets can be nice, but they do take up slots. Alright, let's go ahead and end our turn. Got our nice army of 1 here.
A blessing upon you.
Alright.
You like the cold? I feel slushy. You like the cold? I feel slushy. You like the cold? I feel slushy.
I cast Magic Missile, which does 1 damage, and I draw a card.
Hope will prevail.
Okay, and then I'll cast this Contra Golem. Once again, it's spell boosted. Everything that's in my hand that can be spell boosted.
You like the cold?
There we go, we did some damage. I do not claim that I'm good at this game. I've only started playing this like 2 days ago. Alright, so Sorcery Cache I can actually use to boost a card in my hand twice and draw a card. It is also a spell, so it does boost it again. I'm going to do Sorcery Cache on this dimension shift. There we go, it's now at 7 cost. And I get to draw a card, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with what we have.
You like the cold?
I could evolve one of my monsters, but it's not going to be a kill, so I'm not too worried about it.
I act at my heart's
Okay,
command.
Ward. Cloud Chorus. Okay.
The moment of liberation is at
Alright.
hand.
You went all out. Alright, this is game. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use one of these. So this lightning shooter's been in my hand this entire time, and it's gotten spell boosted, so I do 9 damage to a monster. Highest I've done with a one of these characters is 13, which I used to take out a Bahamut. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and evolve you.
This ends here.
Now this one's already been out and doesn't have summoning sickness, so I can just attack directly.
You like the cold?
Defeat me, but nothing will change.
There you go.
I've prevailed again.
So we got some vials, and we'll go ahead and click next. There is a level up system. There are some achievements for hitting level 10 and some other nonsense, but
You're not going to get in my way.
I can see just how far you are prepared to go. The depth of your love, your sadness. I'm sorry. I had to be sure.
What are you trying to say?
There are those whose despair swallows them, and those whose despair powers them. You are the latter. There are rumors of a girl who lives in the forest southeast of here. They say she can speak with the dead.
With the dead?
I cannot attest to the rumor's truth. There, however, is a chance that the girl has some unknown power.
A chance.
It may seem far-fetched, but the girl inspires fear in all those she meets.
I'll keep that in mind. I apologize for being so aggressive.
Not at all. I too had to be certain. Please, forgive me.
Sure.
I hope I have been of some assistance.
alright, so we unlock another area, has different rewards, and let's go ahead and go back. And so show off a few things. So there are of course the missions that I talk about. They get unlocked as time goes by and stuff like that. You can also replace ones that you don't feel like you can complete. Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. It ranges from playing in rank matches, to winning in rank matches, to just playing with certain characters, winning with certain decks. Pretty similar to Hearthstone. Achievements. As you complete achievements, you can unlock a variety of things. And that'll get you some other rewards, which are usually in the form of rubies, which you can use to buy more card packs. There's also score, which you get, I think, from rank play. That's where I seem to have noticed it. And as you get higher and higher, you'll unlock more and more stuff. Alright, so a few other things I want to go ahead and show off is the cards. So you can make a deck. Decks are 40 cards. Pretty standard. You can't have more than 3 duplicates. That's about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at cards. So a few things I want to go ahead and show off for the cards is they have, you know, foil versions, which are animated, very similar to Hearthstone. Also, if you go to, let's take a look at a few cards. Let's take a look at that one. So you can actually take a look at the, you can look at all the cards, and you can click on their other side, which shows off their flavor text. It also says what card set they're from, so what booster packs you need to buy to get them. And some other things to note is any of the cards that have dialogue,
My boss works us to the bone.
you can actually click on it to hear what they say. You can also see what their evolved form looks like. You can also liquefy them to gain vials and all that nonsense.
All part of the job.
And a lot of the cards have multiple dialogues, and that's actually pretty impressive. I don't know if Hearthstone's done this. I know only the characters had dialogue. That was about, and maybe some of the special characters like Blackwing and things like that, I think. But for the most part, felt like there's a little bit more in this game. But I mean, I'm not a Hearthstone expert, and I'm certainly not a Shadowverse expert. But I just wanted to show this game off because, well, I needed to get a video up this weekend, and it was just something that kind of I've been messing around with, seeing how it works. I haven't really talked much about the other mechanics in the game. I can quickly just show those off. So you have Orisa, well, you have Forestcraft, and what Forestcraft does is its mechanic is it keeps track of how many cards you've played during your turn, and a number of Forestcraft cards will have additional effects if you've played 2 or more cards before you play that card. So the idea is you generally have a lot of low-cost fairies that cost 1 or 0 depending on how you play it, and you'll play those fairy cards first to get a bunch of cards out in a single turn, and then activate your other card that will have a special effect attached to it. It's pretty neat. My luck in rank play with her was not so great, so I kind of quit playing her after I did her story mode and lost a bunch of times in rank play, even at rank 0. Swordcraft, their mechanic usually revolves around a lot of characters that can summon like other knights, which are usually 1/1 tokens and things like that. The other mechanic is each of the characters will have various ranks. Some of them are captains, some are commanders, and those can, some are officers and some are commanders, and you can actually click a button to see which is which if you need to, or you can look at the cards themselves. And there are a number of effects that will influence officers or commanders, or whether or not there's a commander or officer in play. Runecraft, okay, that's what it's called, Runecraft. That's the spell boosting thing. Also has that thing about the Earth sigils. Dragoncraft. The way Dragoncraft works is, well, it has a few things. One, it has a few cards that will actually give him additional orbs, which are what you spend to cast spells. So they can get a kind of a mana advantage over your opponent early in the game. Also, they have a mechanic that's called, I think it was like Overdrive or something, or Overload, where there's a countdown timer, and after that countdown timer has completed, all Overload effects will activate. So at the beginning of the game, they have a lot of his cards will have a bunch of effects that will not activate at all until that countdown wears off. So if it's in the case of monsters, it might give them a buff. In the case of something like, you know, some of the spells, it might do additional effects like let you draw a card or things like that. So generally this is a class that gets a lot of mana really early, and in the late game they get a bunch of buffs just on their cards in general. Shadowcraft. Shadowcraft is the necromancy stuff. The way it works is you have a mechanic that revolves around shadow points. You get shadow points by either casting spells or whenever one of your monsters dies. There's also a number of card effects that will give you shadow points, and a number of the cards will have an effect called necromancy. And what necromancy does is it will have a number beside it, and if you have enough shadow points for it, you'll automatically use those points to activate the necromancy effect, which can do things from buffs to additional effects. Bloodcraft. Bloodcraft special ability is essentially a sort of rage mechanic. There's an effect called Vengeance, and Vengeance will only activate if you were at 10 or less health. So a lot of Bloodcraft mechanics revolve around hurting yourself to ensure that you get down to 10 defense. Now if you go above 10 defense, your Vengeance will turn off. So that's some things to be aware of. And then Havencraft is the one we dealt with earlier. Havencraft is where you have the countdown. It's all over the board and all that nonsense. We didn't really get to see that in effect on the story battle, unfortunately, because she only used neutral monsters. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Next time I might show off some other stuff. I might show off either I could show off some rank play, or I could show off the arena, which is a take-two draft mechanic, very similar to what they have in Hearthstone. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and call this a video. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this was Shadowverse. See you guys later.